This is a story titled A Love Beyond Darkness. As soon as my mother-in-law Grace arrived at our cozy little apartment, I could sense a shift in the atmosphere. My husband John and I had been basking in the warmth of our newfound marriage, and her visit was a welcome distraction. However, within hours of her arrival, Grace began to act strangely. She would glance at John with a mixture of confusion and concern, her eyes narrowing as if she was trying to decipher a puzzle. At first, I dismissed her behavior as mere curiosity, but as the days passed, her action became more pronounced. She would often sneak glances at John, her expression a mask of worry. One evening, as we sat down for dinner, Grace finally confronted John. "What's going on with you, son?" she asked, her voice trembling. John's eyes darted towards me, and I sensed a flicker of unease. "What do you mean, Mom?" he replied, his tone cautious. Grace leaned forward, her eyes locked on John's. "I've noticed strange things about you, John, things that don't add up." My heart began to race as I wondered what Grace has discovered. What secret was John hiding? "I don't know what you're talking about, Mom," John said, his voice steady, but I noticed a faint sweat breaking out of his forehead. Grace's eyes narrowed. "Don't lie to me, John. I've seen the way you react to certain things, the way you seem to know things before they happen." I felt a shiver run down my spine as I realized what Grace was implying. Was John somehow psychic? John's eyes flashed with anger, but he quickly composed himself. "I don't know what you're talking about, Mom," he repeated. But Grace was relentless. "I've been doing some research, John. I think I know what's going on with you." Suddenly, John's phone rang, shrill in the silence. He hesitated, then got up to answer it. As he walked away, Grace turned to me. "I am sorry, dear. I didn't mean to cause tension, but I have to know the truth." I nodded, feeling a sense of unease. What was John hiding, and what did Grace's research have to do with anything? As I watched John pace back and forth, his voice low and urgent, I realized that our peaceful life was about to turn upside down. As John continued to pace, his conversation grew more heated. I could sense the tension building, and Grace's eyes never left his face. Finally, John ended the call and turned to us. His expression was grim. "I need to go," he said. "Where?" I asked, feeling a pang of worry. John hesitated. "I'll be back soon, I promise." But as he turned to leave, Grace stood up, her eyes blazing. "You're not going anywhere until you tell us the truth," she said. John's eyes locked with hers, and for a moment I thought I saw a flash of something unnatural. Then his expression smoothed out, and he turned to me. "I'll be back soon," he repeated, and with that he was gone. I turned to Grace, feeling a sense of unease. "What's going on?" I asked. Grace's eyes were still narrowed. "I don't know," she said, "but I aim to find out." As we waited for John's return, I couldn't shake the feeling that our lives were about to change forever. As the hours ticked by, I grew increasingly anxious. Where had John gone, and what was he hiding? Grace seemed to sense my unease. "Don't worry, dear," she said. "We will get to the bottom of this." But as the darkness outside deepened, I couldn't shake the feelings that something was terribly wrong. Suddenly, I heard a faint noise outside, footsteps, light and cautious. I exchanged a nervous glance with Grace. "Who could that be?" I whispered. The footsteps grew louder, and then the door cracked open. John slipped inside, his eyes scanning the room. "Where have you been?" I demanded, trying to keep my voice steady. John hesitated, his eyes darted towards Grace. I had to take care of something," he said. But before he could elaborate, Grace stood up, her eyes blazing. "Enough secrets, John," she said. "Tell us the truth." John's eyes locked with hers, and for a moment I thought I saw a flash of fear. Then his expression smoothed out, and he took a deep breath. "Okay," he said, "I will tell you everything." But as he began to speak, I realized that I wasn't prepared for the truth, not at all. "I'm not who you think I am," John said, his voice barely above a whisper. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. "What do you mean?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. John took a deep breath. "I'm not human," he said. I laughed, thinking it was some kind of sick joke, but John's expression was dead serious. "What are you talking about?" Grace demanded, her eyes blazing with anger. John hesitated, as if unsure how to continue. I am a supernatural being, he said. I've been living among humans for years, studying them, learning from them. I felt like my world was crashing down around me. Why did you marry me? I asked, my voice shaking with tears. John's eyes locked with mine. I love you, he said. I know it sounds crazy, but I do. And I wanted to experience human life, to understand what it means to be human. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to run away, to escape the madness that had consumed my life. But another part of me wanted to stay, to understand John's secret and to see if our love could overcome even the most impossible obstacle. As I looked into John's eyes, I knew that I had a choice to make. And either way, my life would never be the same again. I took a deep breath, trying to process everything. What kind of supernatural being are you? I asked, my voice shaking slightly. John hesitated, as if unsure how to answer. I am a demon, he said finally. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. A demon? How could the man I love be a demon? Grace stood up, her eyes blazing with anger. Get out of my house, she spat. John didn't move. Please listen, he said. I know this is a lot to take in, but I swear I am not here to hurt you. I love you, he said, looking at me. I felt torn. Part of me wanted to believe John, to think that our love could overcome even the most impossible obstacle. But another part of me was terrified. What do you want from me? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. John took a step forward. I want to be with you, he said. I want to spend the rest of eternity with you. I shook my head. I don't know, I said. John's face fell, but he nodded. I understand, he said, but please don't shut me out completely. Give me a chance to prove myself to you. I looked at him, unsure of what to do, but as I saw the sincerity in his eyes, I knew I had to give him a chance. Okay, I said finally, but you have to promise me one thing. What's that? John asked. You have to promise me you will never hurt me or anyone I care about, I said. John nodded, his eyes locked on mine. I promise, he said. And with that, our journey together began. As the days passed, I found myself growing closer to John. Despite his demonic nature, he proved himself to be kind, caring, and genuinely in love with me. But our happiness was short-lived. John's demonic past soon caught up with him, and we found ourselves facing numerous challenges and threats. Through it all, John remained steadfast, using his power to protect me and those I care about. And as I watched him, I realized that he was more than a demon, he was my soulmate. In the end, we emerged victorious, our love stronger than ever. We proved that even the most unlikely of partners could find happiness together, and that love can conquer all, even the forces of darkness. As I looked into John's eyes, I knew that I had made the right choice in giving him a chance. He was my demon, my lover, and my everything. And as we stood together hand in hand, I knew that our love would last an eternity. Please subscribe to this channel. See you next time. Bye.